Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Gohan discovered ancient Namekian knowledge? Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And also check the description, so let's begin the story. The meditation wasn't working. Gohan sat cross-legged on the white tiles of Kami's lookout, eyes squeezed shut, trying to find that place of perfect stillness Piccolo had taught him years ago. The wind whipped his GI. His muscles ached from yesterday's training with Goten. His mind kept wandering to the essay due Monday for his world history class. Breathe. Focus. Center yourself. Piccolo's voice echoed in memory. Harsh. Demanding. The Green Warrior stood 50 feet away, his own meditation undisturbed, a statue carved from concentration. Gohan tried again. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the ki flowing through. His stomach growled. Loudly, Piccolo's eye cracked open. A withering glare stabbed across the distance. Sorry, Gohan whispered. You're distracted. Not a question. An accusation? I'm trying. Trying isn't doing. Piccolo unfolded from his meditation stance with that impossible fluid grace. You've been at Orange Star High for 3 months. Your focus is scattered. When you meditate, I can sense your ki signature splitting into 17 different directions. Gohan stood, dusting off his GI. It's just a lot to balance. School, training with Goten, helping mom around the house, the reading for Professor Takeshi's class. Excuses? Piccolo crossed his arms. Your father lived in the wilderness eating fish and fighting dinosaurs, and his meditation was clearer than yours. Dad's meditation consisted of napping between meals. Piccolo's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. Fair point. But the principle stands. Your mind is cluttered. Meditation requires, the lookout shuddered, not earthquake rumble. Something else. A vibration that came from beneath, resonating through the ancient stone like a tuning fork struck in another dimension. Both warriors dropped into combat stances instantly. Did you feel that? Gohan's hands glowed with gathering ki. Piccolo's expression darkened. This lookout is older than most civilizations. Parts of it were built by Kami's predecessor. And his predecessor. There are sections I've never fully explored. Another tremor. Stronger. The tiles beneath Gohan's feet spiderwebbed with hairline cracks. That doesn't sound good. The floor erupted. Not explosion. Implosion. Reality folding inward like paper crumpling. Gohan's stomach lurched as gravity reversed, twisted, then vanished entirely. He was falling upward, sideways, inward, directions that shouldn't exist. Gohan! Piccolo's shout Doppler shifted into silence. The world became a kaleidoscope of white tiles and blue sky and Piccolo's shocked face spinning, fragmenting, reassembling wrong. Gohan tried to fly, tried to power up, tried to anything, but his ki scattered like water through a sieve. Then darkness. Complete. Absolute. The kind of black that presses against your eyeballs and makes you question if you still have a body. Gohan's heart hammered. Hello? Piccolo? Piccolo! His voice died instantly. Swallowed by the dark like sound had been declared illegal. He was aware of falling. Still falling. Had been falling for seconds or centuries. Time felt negotiable here. His Saiyan instincts screamed danger but couldn't identify the threat. There was nothing to fight, nothing to blast. Just endless descent into nothing. His hand brushed something solid. Wall. Gohan's fingers scrabbled against smooth stone. He twisted mid-fall, managed to press both palms flat against the surface. His ki flared instinctively, and stuck. Energy adhered to stone like magnetism. His descent slowed. Stopped. He hung there in the darkness, palms glowing faint gold, illuminating approximately nothing. Okay. Okay. Think. His voice sounded strange. Muffled. Like speaking underwater. I was meditating. Floor collapsed. Fell into, what? A basement? A cave system under the lookout? His eyes adjusted. Slowly. Painfully, the glow from his hands revealed walls. Obsidian? No, something darker. Black that absorbed light rather than reflected it. And covering every square inch, symbols. Gohan's breath caught. The glyphs were namekian. He recognized the basic structure from Piccolo's scattered teachings about his homeworld's written language. But these weren't the simple characters Piccolo had shown him. These were complex, layered, three-dimensional somehow. Despite being carved into flat stone, they seemed to writhe in his peripheral vision. He looked directly at one. It stopped moving. Looked away. Movement resumed. "What is this place?" His words echoed. Multiplied. Came back wrong. What place is this? The overlapping reverberations formed harmonics that hurt his ears. Gohan clamped his mouth shut. Moving carefully, he oriented himself. The chamber was massive, roughly hexagonal. The walls sloped inward, creating a sense of being inside a geometric throat. Far below, maybe 50 feet, maybe 500, depth was impossible to judge. Something glowed. Emerald green, pulsing, rhythmic as a heartbeat. Gohan's Saiyan blood sang in recognition. Power. Raw and ancient and utterly alien to anything he'd felt before. It made the spirit bomb feel crude. Made Super Saiyan transformations feel like parlor tricks. He had to see it. The smart move was to fly back up. Find Piccolo. Report this discovery. Approach it methodically. Gohan started descending. His hands and feet found purchase in the symbol-carved walls. The glyphs felt warm under his fingers. Almost alive. His ki responded to their presence, fluctuating in patterns he didn't understand. For someone who'd spent his whole life feeling energy signatures, reading them as easily as breathing, this was profoundly unsettling. The green glow intensified as he descended. Details emerged. The chamber's floor was a perfect circle. Polished stone so black it reflected nothing. And floating in the exact center, suspended in defiance of physics, a scroll. Gohan dropped the final 10 feet. Landed in a crouch. The scroll rotated slowly. Bamboo handles. Aged parchment wrapped around them. Bound with a cord that shifted colors, green to gold to something that hurt to perceive directly. The emerald light came from inside it. Gohan circled the artifact. His mind, the part that loved discovery, that devoured knowledge like Saiyans devoured food, buzzed with questions. How old was this? Who made it? What language was it written in? Why did his ki resonate with frequencies that made his teeth ache? Piccolo needs to see this, he muttered. This is namekian. Has to be. Maybe from before the cataclysm that destroyed their planet? Ancient knowledge preserved by Kami's ancestors? The scroll pulsed. Once, bright enough to make him squint. Gohan froze. Did you just respond to me? Silence. The emerald glow resumed its steady rhythm. I'm talking to a scroll. Great. Next I'll be having philosophical debates with Senzu Beans. But he didn't leave. Couldn't. The pull was magnetic. Gravitational. Like standing at the edge of a cliff and feeling that terrible, seductive whisper, jump. His hand extended. Fingers trembling. Just a look. Quick examination. Then I'll get Piccolo and wheel. His fingertips brushed the parchment. The universe screamed. Sound became color, became pain, became knowing. Gohan's mind exploded outward, expanded past the boundaries of his skull, became a vessel trying to contain an ocean. 1,000 voices spoke simultaneously. No sang, no taught, in languages he'd never heard but suddenly understood with perfect crystalline clarity. The sealing of the Great Void requires 17-dimensional anchor points. Harmonic resonance between ki and spiritual energy creates. To bind a god you must first understand godhood itself. The 47th theorem of namekian cosmology states that reality is permission granted by. Images flooded his consciousness. Namekian sages in meditation circles. Symbols drawn in air with pure energy. Demons the size of mountains being compressed into orbs of light. Stars rearranged into geometric patterns. Mathematics as magic. Magic as mathematics. Gohan tried to scream. His mouth opened but nothing came out because his body was very far away, a distant concern, and his mind was drowning in knowledge that tasted like copper and smelled like ozone and felt like ice water injected directly into his neurons. His Saiyan biology revolted. Cells screamed in protest. His transformation triggers, Super Saiyan, the forms he mastered, activated instinctively, trying to fight the information assault. Golden energy erupted around him. It made everything worse. The Super Saiyan transformation sharpened his mind, made him process faster, which meant the knowledge poured in faster, exponentially faster. His brain became a sieve and the scroll was Niagara Falls. Sealing requires understanding the true name of 17 gates between dimensions, each guarded by. To compress infinite into finite, apply the Mobian theory of warning. Saiyan physiology incompatible with direct knowledge transfer. That last voice was different. Female. Sad. It sounded like an apology delivered across millennia. Then pain, real pain. Gohan's back arched. His transformation flickered. The golden aura sputtered like a candle in wind. He was dimly aware of his body convulsing on the black stone floor. Blood leaked from his nose. His eyes, the voices grew louder. Overlapping. Contradicting. Too much. Too fast. His mind was a glass filling past capacity. Cracks formed. I'm dying, he thought with strange clarity. This is how I die. Not in battle. Not saving the world. Killed by a scroll because I couldn't resist touching things. Mom would be so mad. That thought, ridiculous, domestic, completely human, became an anchor. Chi-chi, Mom. Home. Dinner. Homework. Normal life. Gohan's mind clung to mundane memories like a drowning man grabbing driftwood. His 8th birthday. Goten's first steps. Piccolo teaching him to dodge by throwing him at mountains. Vidal's smile when she finally learned to fly. The knowledge torrent hit these memories and refracted. Like light through a prism. Like water around a rock. The information scattered, slowed, became manageable. Not stopped, but no longer lethal. Gohan's Saiyan adaptability kicked in. The same biology that let him go from barely walking to Super Saiyan in months. It started evolving in real time. Neural pathways restructured. Synapses formed connections that shouldn't be anatomically possible. His brain began learning how to learn this new type of information. The voices resolved into clarity. Not 1,000 sages. 7 grand Namekian elders, their consciousness preserved in the scroll. Their final teachings. Their last gift to what? The scroll had expected a Namekian. Full telepathic capability. Natural magical affinity. Centuries to properly absorb the knowledge. Instead it got a teenage half-Saiyan who touched it because he was curious and stupid and dying. We miscalculated, the female voice admitted. But you're adapting. Impossible. Your species shouldn't be able to. Saiyan specialize in impossible, Gohan thought back. Or maybe said aloud? The distinction was unclear. Then survive this, young one. The knowledge is yours if you can carry it. The torrent resumed. But this time Gohan wrote it instead of drowning. Information still poured in, concepts, techniques, theories that would take lifetimes to master. But it organized itself into his mind like books shelving themselves in a library. Hours passed. Days? Time was negotiable in this space between thought and reality. Gradually, gently, the transfer completed. The voices faded to whispers. Then silence. Gohan lay on the black stone floor, staring up at darkness, breathing like he'd run a marathon. His whole body shook. Sweat soaked his GI. Blood crusted his upper lip. But he was alive, and his mind, his mind, he could see Ki now. Not sense, see. The energy flowing through his body followed mathematical patterns. Geometric flows. The equations wrote themselves in his peripheral vision, explaining how Saiyan biology converted food to energy, energy to strength, strength to transformation. He understood. All of it. The scroll floated above him, its glow dimmed to a faint pulse. The cord binding it had dissolved. Gohan sat up slowly. Every muscle screamed protest. He felt like he'd been put through a blender, reassembled wrong, then kicked down a mountain. What did you do to me? The scroll didn't answer. But knowledge bloomed in his mind, not words, but understanding. The scroll was a teaching tool. Created by the last generation of Namekian sages before their planet died. They preserved their knowledge of Ryuken, dragon-binding magic, in a form that could only be accessed by those worthy. Namekian physiology made the transfer safe. Gradual, Saiyan physiology made it survive or die. Gohan had survived. Barely. He stood on shaking legs. Reached for the scroll again, then stopped. The knowledge was already inside him. Taking the physical scroll would just be trophy collection. No. This belonged here. In this sacred space beneath the lookout, he turned toward the wall. Started climbing. His body moved on autopilot while his mind processed the implications of what just happened. He knew things. Impossible things. How to draw ceiling arrays that could trap energy, matter, even concepts. How to fold space using specific harmonic frequencies. How to read the true names of things, the fundamental vibrations that define existence. Magic. Real magic. Not key manipulation or energy blasts. Actual reality bending, law breaking, universe negotiating magic, and his Saiyan body had merged with it. Gohan emerged into the meditation chamber gasping. The hole in the floor was gone. Sealed over with fresh tiles like it had never existed. Piccolo stood exactly where he'd been before. Arms crossed. Waiting. 3 days, he said without preamble. Gohan blinked. What? You've been gone 3 days. I searched. Found nothing. The lookout has ways of hiding things even from me. Piccolo's eyes narrowed. What happened? Gohan looked down at his hands. They trembled. And faint emerald symbols flickered across his palms before fading. I found something. Under the lookout. A chamber. A scroll. Describe it. Gohan did. Haltingly. The words felt inadequate. How do you explain having reality's source code uploaded directly into your brain? Piccolo's expression grew darker with each sentence. When Gohan finished, the Namekian warrior was silent for a long moment. The lost archive, he finally said. I'd heard stories. Legends from Namek. Before the cataclysm. The elder sages supposedly created a repository of knowledge too dangerous to preserve normally. They sealed it in a place between places. His eyes bored into Gohan. And you touched it? I didn't know. Of course you didn't. Piccolo pinched the bridge of his nose. A very human gesture of frustration he'd picked up somewhere. Did the transfer complete? I think so. My head feels like it's been used as a punching bag, but I'm not dead. Let me see your key. Gohan powered up. Carefully. His golden Super Saiyan aura ignited, and sang, literally. The energy produced harmonic frequencies. Musical notes in perfect mathematical intervals. And beneath the gold, green symbols rotated. The same glyphs from the chamber walls, written in pure energy. Piccolo stepped back. Impossible. What? What's wrong? Your key signature. It's... Piccolo's fists clenched. It's not just Saiyan energy anymore. You've got namekian magical harmonics woven through it. I can see the pattern. The structure. He met Gohan's eyes. You're not fully Saiyan anymore. Not fully anything. You're something new. Gohan powered down. The symbols faded, but he could still feel them. Coiled in his energy like DNA strands. Is that bad? I don't know. This has never happened before. Saiyan biology and namekian magic don't mix. They're fundamentally incompatible systems. But you... Piccolo shook his head. Your hybrid genetics, your adaptability. Somehow you merged them. A pause, then Piccolo's mouth quirked. Your mother is going to kill me. I was supposed to be watching you. Despite everything, Gohan laughed. It came out slightly hysterical. Yeah. Hey Mom, I fell through the floor and had ancient alien knowledge forcibly downloaded into my brain. What's for dinner? Knowing Chi-Chi? She'll ground you for being reckless, then force-feed you to help you recover. Piccolo's expression softened. How do you feel? Really? Gohan considered. His body ached. His mind felt overstuffed with information he'd need years to properly process. But underneath? Energy. Not physical strength, potential. Like standing at the base of a mountain and suddenly understanding every path to the summit. Powerful, he admitted. And terrified. Piccolo, I can see things now. Energy flows. Dimensional weaknesses. The mathematical foundations of... He stopped. I sound insane. You sound like a Namekian sage. Piccolo walked to the edge of the lookout, staring out at the earth below. The knowledge you carry. It's sealing magic, you said? Ryuken. Dragon binding. Techniques to imprison, contain, compress. Gohan joined him at the edge. They used it to seal demons. Things that couldn't be killed. Entities that existed before planets formed. Can you use it? I think so. The knowledge is there. But it's like knowing the blueprints to a car versus actually driving one. I understand the theory. Actually doing it will take practice. Then we practice. Piccolo's tone left no room for argument. Tomorrow. Early. Before your mother wakes up. We'll test your new abilities safely. Controlled environment. Gohan nodded. Relief flooded through him. He wasn't alone in this. Piccolo would help him understand. His body chose that moment to remind him he'd been awake for 3 days straight, while having his neural architecture rebuilt. Everything went sideways. Gohan's knees buckled. Piccolo caught him before he face-planted on the tiles. Easy. You need food. Rest. Your Saiyan metabolism is probably eating itself right now. Can't go home like this. Gohan's vision swam. Mom sees blood on my face, she'll panic. I'll handle Chi-Chi. You're staying at my place tonight. Piccolo lifted Gohan effortlessly. Consider it protective custody. From your mother. Gohan wanted to argue. Managed a weak grunt instead. As Piccolo flew toward his wasteland home, carrying his former student, Gohan's consciousness flickered. The knowledge inside his mind pulsed. Organized itself further. Filed itself into categories he didn't consciously create. And deep in his subconscious, a realization formed. The scroll had chosen him. Specifically, a Saiyan with Namekian training. Someone adaptable enough to survive the transfer. Someone who'd need these abilities for something the ancient sages foresaw. Why me? He thought as sleep dragged him under. The answer came from that sad female voice, echoing from the preserved consciousness. Because the sealed things are waking. And only a scholar warrior can face what comes next. Gohan woke to the smell of water. Not ocean. Not rain. Just water. Pure and mineral and utterly neutral. He cracked one eye open. Piccolo's meditation chamber. Spartan as a monk's cell. Stone walls. Stone floor. A single window showing dawn breaking over the wasteland. His body ached in 17 new and exciting ways. Sitting up took actual effort. His muscles had turned to wet sand. His head throbbed with a hangover that no amount of alcohol could produce, but his mind, clear, organized. The knowledge from the scroll had settled into categories during his sleep. Not random information anymore, structured. Accessible. Like having a library in his head with perfect indexing. Gohan focused. Thought about sealing techniques. Information bloomed. The binding of 16 corners. A basic containment seal for energy-based entities. Required geometric precision. Could hold up to class 3-dimensional tiers. He thought about barrier creation. The 8-fold ward of silence. Defensive array. Spatial isolation. Anything inside couldn't be detected from outside. Anything outside couldn't interact with inside. He thought about. Stop. Piccolo stood in the doorway, holding 2 bottles of water. I can sense your ki spiking. You're cycling through techniques mentally. Your energy responds to each thought. Gohan accepted a bottle. Drained it in 4 seconds. Sorry. It's like having a new toy. I want to test everything. Test wrong and you'll seal yourself into a pocket dimension by accident. Piccolo sat cross-legged across from him. The Namekian elders spent decades mastering what you now carry. Respect that knowledge. I will. I am. Gohan set the empty bottle down. But Piccolo, I can feel it. The techniques aren't just memorized. They're part of me now. Like my ki control. Instinctive. That's the danger. Piccolo's expression was grave. Your Saiyan blood makes you adaptable. Lets you learn fast, master techniques other species need years to achieve. But magic isn't like martial arts. It's not about strength or speed. It's about precision. Understanding. One misplaced symbol in a sealing array, and you don't just fail, You create something worse than what you tried to contain. The weight of that settled on Gohan's shoulders. So what do I do? His voice came out smaller than intended. I can't unknow this. Can't go back to who I was yesterday. No. You can't. Piccolo stood. Extended his hand. So we move forward. Carefully. We test your abilities in controlled scenarios. Small seals. Simple barriers. Build your practical experience to match your theoretical knowledge. He pulled Gohan to his feet. And if you're going to be a Namekian mage in a Saiyan body? You'll be the first. We're writing the instruction manual as we go. Gohan gripped his teacher's hand. Former teacher? Current teacher? The lines blurred. Thank you? For not. I don't know. Freaking out? Oh, I'm freaking out internally. Piccolo's mouth twitched. But you're my student. My responsibility. We'll figure this out. They walked outside. The wasteland stretched to the horizon. Cracked earth. Scattered boulders. Perfect testing ground. Okay. Piccolo pointed to a rock 50 feet away. Simple exercise. Namekian children learn this first. Create a barrier around that boulder. Just energy containment. Nothing fancy. Gohan nodded. Focused. The knowledge rose easily. Lesser ward of binding. Circular array. 7 energy nodes. Harmonic frequency of. His hand moved without conscious thought. Fingers traced symbols in the air. Golden key mixed with emerald light. The symbols burned themselves into reality, hanging in space like impossible graffiti. The array completed in 2.3 seconds. Around the boulder, space bent. A sphere of crystallized energy materialized. Transparent but visible, like looking through flawed glass. Inside the barrier, the boulder floated. Untethered by gravity. Piccolo stared. That shouldn't be possible. What? Did I do it wrong? You did it perfectly. That's the problem. Piccolo walked around the barrier, examining it. Namekian children take weeks to create their first stable barrier. The array you just drew would take a trained mage 30 seconds minimum. You did it in under 3. Is that bad? It's terrifying. Piccolo met his eyes. Your Saiyan speed, combined with internalized magical knowledge. You're not thinking through the steps, you're executing them at combat speed. Gohan looked at his hands. The emerald symbols still flickered across his palms. So I can fight using sealing magic. Not just defensive wards. Actual combat applications, theoretically. But Piccolo stopped mid-sentence. His head snapped toward the barrier. The boulder inside was changing. Surface cracks glowed emerald. The stone's molecular structure was being affected by the containment field's energy signature. Gohan. Dismiss the barrier. Now, how do I? The same way you created it. Gohan focused. The knowledge came, reversal pattern. Counter-harmonic frequency. He drew the dismissal seal. Nothing happened. The barrier pulsed. Stronger. The boulder's cracks spread. Panic spiked. It's not working. You're feeding it energy. Stop powering up. Piccolo grabbed his shoulder. Sealing magic responds to intention and power. You're panicking, flooding the seal with energy. Calm down. Think. Gohan forced himself to breathe. Center. The same meditation techniques from this morning. Gods, was that only this morning? The barrier responded to his calming. Pulse slower. He tried the dismissal again. Carefully. Precisely. The array symbols unwrote themselves. The barrier collapsed inward, compressed to a point, then vanished. The boulder dropped. Hit the ground. Shattered into gravel. Both warriors stared at the destruction. That, Piccolo said slowly, was a containment field. Meant to preserve what's inside. You somehow inverted its function and turned it into a crushing force. Gohan's hands shook. I could have created a black hole. If I'd lost control completely, but you didn't. You adapted. Found the solution under pressure. Piccolo squeezed his shoulder. That's the Saiyan in you. Rising to the challenge. But Gohan, hear me, you cannot afford mistakes with this power. Every seal you create affects reality. Improperly dismissed seals don't just fade, they corrupt. become dimensional scars. The weight crushed down harder. Maybe I shouldn't use this, Gohan whispered. Maybe I should try to. I don't know. Suppress it? Lock it away? Could you suppress being able to fly? Stop yourself from powering up? Piccolo shook his head. The knowledge is part of you now. Integrated into your ki, your neural pathways, your very existence. Suppressing it would be like trying not to breathe. Then what? Then we train. Carefully. Methodically. You learn to walk before you run. Piccolo gestured to another boulder. Again. Slower this time. Think through each step. Don't let instinct take over. They spent the next 3 hours on basic containment fields. Gohan created barriers. Dismissed them. Created them again. Piccolo critiqued every symbol, every energy flow, every harmonic frequency. It was harder than any physical training Gohan had ever endured. Fighting came naturally to Saiyans. Magic required thought. Precision. One wrong stroke in an array and the entire structure failed. No margin for error. No relying on raw power to compensate. His Super Saiyan transformation kept trying to activate. Frustrated by the slow pace. Wanting to blast through problems instead of carefully solving them, Gohan wrestled his own biology into submission. By noon, he'd created a stable barrier that lasted 5 minutes without collapsing. Piccolo nodded grudging approval. Progress. Now comes the hard part. That wasn't the hard part. Piccolo's expression turned serious. You need to go home. Face your mother. Explain what happened. If Chi-Chi doesn't understand the risks, she'll think this is just another training development. She needs to know the truth. Gohan's stomach dropped. Can't we just not tell her? Your key signature has changed fundamentally. Every person with energy sensing will notice. Better she hears it from you than from Goku casually mentioning you feel weird. Fair point. Gohan flew home with dread sitting heavy in his chest. Heavier than fighting Cell. Heavier than training in the hyperbolic time chamber. He was about to disappoint his mother. Chi-Chi was in the kitchen. Naturally, the smells hit Gohan before he opened the door. Rice. Miso soup. Grilled fish. His stomach roared to life. Apparently 3 days without food had consequences. Mom? He stepped inside. I'm home. Gohan. Chi-Chi spun from the stove, ladle in hand like a weapon. 3 days. 3 days. Piccolo said you were training, but do you know how worried? She stopped. Her eyes narrowed. You look terrible. What happened to your face? Gohan touched his cheek. Dried blood he'd missed cleaning. There was an accident. Training accident. I'm fine now, but training accident. Chi-Chi's voice went dangerous quiet. Did Piccolo push you too hard again? I swear that Namekian doesn't understand human bodies need rest. It wasn't Piccolo's fault. It was mine. Gohan took a breath. I found something. Under Kami's lookout. Ancient knowledge. I absorbed it. Now I can do things. New things. Magic things. Chi-Chi set down the ladle. Pulled out a chair. Saturday. Explain. Slowly. Using words I'll understand. So Gohan did. He simplified. Avoided the technical jargon. Explained the scroll, the knowledge transfer, the sealing magic he now carried. Chi-Chi listened. Silent. Her face unreadable. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Show me, she finally said. What? Show me this magic. If you're going to tell me my son is now some kind of wizard Saiyan hybrid, I want to see it. Gohan hesitated. Then raised his hand. Drew a simple binding array in the air, 7 symbols, basic containment field. His ki flowed through the pattern. Emerald light mixed with gold. A sphere materialized around the kitchen table. The dishes on it floated gently, weightless within the barrier. Chi-Chi stood. Walked around the sphere. Reached out. Her hand stopped at the barrier's surface like touching solid glass. Can people get hurt by this? She asked. If I don't control it properly. Yes. Can you hurt yourself? Absolutely. Chi-Chi turned to face him. Her expression was unreadable. Then she pulled him into a crushing hug. My brilliant, reckless, wonderful boy. Her voice was thick. You couldn't just study normal subjects. You had to find ancient alien magic. I didn't mean to. You never mean to. You just do? Like your father? She pulled back, hands on his shoulders. But unlike your father, you think. You study. You'll master this carefully. With Piccolo's help, her expression hardened. And you will be careful. No testing dangerous seals without supervision. No experimenting alone. Understand? Yes, ma'am. Good. She returned to the stove. Now eat. You look half dead. And after dinner, homework. Magic or no magic, you still have that essay due Monday. Gohan sat at the table. Dismissed the barrier with a thought. The dishes settled gently back into place. Normal life, continuing despite the impossible. He ate 4 bowls of rice. 2 servings of fish. Drained a pitcher of tea. His body slowly remembered what food was. After dinner, he retreated to his room. Textbooks spread across his desk. The essay on ancient civilizations stared at him accusingly. He tried to focus on Mesopotamian agriculture. His mind kept drifting to namekian ceiling theory. The knowledge was right there. Accessible. Organized. He could think about a technique and instantly understand its applications, limitations, required energy signatures. Gohan forced himself to write about irrigation systems. 3 paragraphs in, his hand started moving on its own. He watched, horrified, as his pen drew symbols in the margins. Namekian glyphs. The same ones from the chamber walls. His handwriting, but not his intention. The symbols pulsed faintly. Gohan dropped the pen. Shook his hand. Stop. Stop it. I need to do homework. The glyphs faded. But the message was clear. The knowledge wanted out. Wanted to be used, practiced, mastered. His phone buzzed. Text from Vidal. V, you alive? Saw you weren't in class Friday. G, alive. Ish. Long story. V, good long story or bad long story? G, weird long story. V, those are the best kind. Coffee tomorrow? You can explain why you feel different. Gohan froze. G, different how? V, your energy. It's always been warm. Now it's warm and something else. Tingly? I don't know how to describe it. Did you get a new power-up? She could feel it. Of course she could. Vidal had been training her key sensitivity for months. Gee, something like that. Coffee sounds good. 10 a.m.? V, it's a date. Bring your weird. Gohan set the phone down. Stared at his reflection in the darkened window. His eyes glowed faint green, just for a second. Then normal again. What am I becoming? He whispered. No answer came. But deep in his mind, the knowledge stirred. Organized itself further. Prepared for the tests ahead. Because the scroll's warning echoed, the sealed things are waking, and Gohan had just rung the dinner bell. That night he dreamed. Not normal dreams. Visions. Memories that weren't his. Namek before the cataclysm. Green skies. 3 suns. Crystalline cities that sang in the wind. The elder sages in council. 7 of them. Impossibly old. Their power making reality bend just from existing. And demons. Things that predated planets. Entities of pure chaos wearing shapes that hurt to perceive. The sages fighting them not with ki blasts but with understanding. Seals drawn in cosmic geometry. Prisons built from mathematics and will. One demon stood out. Larger than the others. Humanoid but wrong. Its shadow moved independently. Its voice harmonized in discordant fifths. The sages sealed it. Together. The effort killed 3 of them. As the seal completed, the demon spoke. Words that echoed across time. You bind me now, scholars. But seals weaken. Knowledge spreads. One day, someone will learn your arts. And when they do, when the chains are remembered, I will be waiting. The vision shifted. The female sage. The one whose voice Gohan recognized from the scroll. She was dying. Giving her remaining life force to the archive. Her last act, programming a warning, find the scholar warrior. The one who bridges worlds. Give him our knowledge. He'll need it when, her voice cut off, Gohan woke gasping. Sweat soaked his sheets. His heart hammered. Dawn light filtered through his window. Sunday morning? He had coffee with Vidal in 4 hours. But first, he grabbed his phone. Called Piccolo. It's early, came the grumpy response. The scroll. It wasn't just knowledge transfer. It was a warning. Gohan spoke rapidly. The demons they sealed. The ones the techniques were created to contain. They're not just theoretical enemies, they're real. And they're coming, Piccolo finished. I know. I've been sensing it. Dimensional barriers have been thinning for the past 3 days. Since you touched the scroll, ice water in Gohan's veins. I caused this? You didn't cause anything. You prepared for it. That's what the sages intended. A pause. Get ready. This is bigger than we thought. And Gohan? When the first seal breaks, yeah, you'll be the only one who can rebuild it. The call ended. Gohan sat in his dark room, ancient knowledge pulsing in his mind, and realized his life had just divided into before and after. Before the scroll, after knowledge, and there was no going back. The coffee shop smelled like burnt beans and broken promises. Gohan sat in the corner booth, watching condensation slide down his untouched iced coffee. His leg bounced under the table. Nervous energy, Saiyan restlessness mixed with something new, the knowledge in his head itching to be used. Outside, Sunday morning crowds wandered past. Normal people doing normal things. Shopping. Laughing. Living lives where ancient demon warnings weren't real. Gohan envied them. His phone buzzed. Vidal, running 5 minutes late. Order me something sweet? He waved down a server. Ordered her usual, caramel latte, extra shot, chocolate croissant. The mundane task felt surreal. Like playing house while reality crumbled at the edges. The symbols wanted out again. His hand twitched. Fingers moved unconsciously, tracing patterns on the table's surface. Emerald light flickered where his fingertips touched wood. Geometric arrays half-formed themselves before he caught it. Stop. Control it. Think. Piccolo's words from yesterday's training. Magic responds to intention and power. Your Saiyan instincts want to flood everything with energy. Learn restraint, or you'll seal yourself into a pocket dimension by accident. Gohan pressed his palms flat. Breathed. Forced the symbols back down into his subconscious where they belong. The door chimed. Vida walked in and Gohan's heart did that stupid skip it always did. Her hair was tied back, workout clothes suggesting she'd come from morning training. Her key signature, warm, determined, alive, washed over him like sunlight. She slid into the booth across from him. Smiled. Then her expression shifted. Okay, what happened to you? Hello to you too, don't deflect. Her eyes narrowed, that detective's gaze she'd inherited from her father. You look exhausted. You feel weird. And your energy is doing something. Like static electricity but more. The server delivered her order. Vidal thanked them absently, not breaking eye contact with Gohan. He sipped his coffee. Bought time. How did you explain this? I found something, he started. Under Kami's lookout. Ancient namekian knowledge sealed in a chamber. I touched it, and it uploaded itself into my brain. Vidal blinked. Processed. Took a long drink of her latte. Uploaded. Into your brain. I know how it sounds, do you? She set the cup down carefully. Because it sounds insane. But also you're Gohan's son, so insane is basically your baseline. A pause. What kind of knowledge? Sealing magic. Techniques to bind, contain, imprison things that can't be killed. Mathematical reality bending. He met her eyes. I can see energy differently now, understand it on levels I didn't know existed. And I can create barriers, seals, wards using geometry and willpower. Show me. Here? Vidal, if I mess up, then don't mess up. Challenge in her voice. That fearless spark he loved. I've seen you catch bullets, Gohan. Show me magic. His heart hammered. This was stupid. Reckless. Exactly the kind of thing his mother warned against. He did it anyway. Under the table, hidden from other customers, Gohan drew with his finger. Simple array. Lesser ward of binding. 7 points. Harmonic frequency calibrated for air molecules only. Nothing solid, nothing living. His key flowed through the pattern. gold mixed with emerald. A sphere materialized around Vidal's croissant. The pastry floated, weightless, suspended in crystallized energy that shimmered like heat haze. Vidal's eyes went wide. She reached out, stopped at the barrier's surface. I can feel it. Smooth. Warm. Like touching sunlight made solid. It's a basic containment field. Holds what's inside. Keeps what's outside from. The barrier pulsed. Wrong frequency. Gohan felt it immediately. The harmonic was drifting. His concentration slipped for half a second and the seal started converting atmospheric pressure into compression force. The croissant began collapsing. Gohan? Vidal's voice sharp. He drew the counter seal. Fast. Fingers moving through dismissal patterns while his mind calculated the exact reverse harmonic needed to. The barrier vanished. The croissant dropped to the plate. Flattened. Dense as a hockey puck. Gohan stared at the destruction. I'm still learning the controls, you think? But Vidal was grinning. Picked up the compressed pastry. Examined it. This is incredible. You turned a chocolate croissant into a physics violation. I ruined your breakfast. You showed me magic. She leaned forward. Gohan, do you understand what this means? You can create barriers instantly. Contain threats. Protect people without having to punch things into orbit. Or accidentally crush them if I calculate wrong. His hands shook. Vidal, I could have hurt you. If that seal inverted completely, if I targeted something other than food, but you didn't. Her hand covered his. Warm. Steady. You caught it. Fixed it. You're learning. Not fast enough. Piccolo says the demons these seals were designed to contain? They're waking up. Something about me accessing the knowledge triggered dimensional barriers to thin. I might have, his voice cracked. I might have started something I can't stop. Vidal was quiet for a moment. Sipped her latte. When she spoke, her voice was calm. Measured. Then you learn faster. Train harder. Master this before the threats arrive. She squeezed his hand. You're not alone in this. You've got Piccolo. Your dad. Me. We'll figure it out together. Before Gohan could respond, his phone screamed. Not ringtone. A sound like reality tearing. High-pitched. Painful. Everyone in the coffee shop winced. He grabbed the phone. The screen showed static. Pure white noise. Then words formed. Dimensional breach detected location, MT. Pose a threat level, critical. That's not my phone, Gohan whispered. That's the scroll's knowledge activating a warning system I didn't know existed. The screen changed. Showed coordinates. A countdown timer. 23 minutes and 47 seconds. 23 hours. 47 minutes? Until what? His key spiked. Every instinct screaming danger. He stood so fast the table shook. I have to get home. Now, I'm coming with you. Vidal, don't even try. She was already moving. You just said dimensional breach at your house. Where your mom and brother are. You think I'm staying here? Fair point. They ran. Flying to empty pose, it took 4 minutes at full speed. 4 minutes of Gohan's mind racing faster than his body. The knowledge in his head was screaming now. Warning patterns, threat assessments, seal degradation rates flooding his consciousness. Something was coming through. Something big. The house appeared over the ridge. Looked normal. Peaceful even, smoke rising from the chimney, laundry on the line, Goten's toys scattered in the yard. Then Gohan felt it. The dimensional fabric above his home was stretched. Like plastic wrap pulled too tight. Reality bulging under pressure from something on the other side trying to break through. He landed hard. Vidal touched down beside him. I don't see anything, she said. You're not looking at the right layer of reality. Gohan's eyes glowed faint green. The scroll's knowledge overlaid his normal vision with geometric patterns. He could see the dimensional weakness now. A tear in space shaped like a spiral, rotating slowly above the house. Edges fraying, and inside the tear, movement. Something massive shifting in darkness beyond. The front door slammed open. Chi-Chi stood there, frying pan in hand like a weapon. Gohan! What is going on? The sky looks wrong. Mom, get inside. Take Goten and... The spiral pulsed. Reality screamed. A beam of pure darkness shot down from the tier. Hit the yard. Didn't explode, infected. Grass withered instantly. Soil turned black. The contamination spread outward in perfect geometric patterns, and rising from the corrupted ground, a sphere. Crystalline. Pulsing with sick green light. Gohan's knowledge identified it instantly. Containment breach marker. A probe sent through weakened dimensional barriers to test local reality. If left unchecked, it would anchor the tear open, make the breach permanent. He moved without thinking, drew a barrier array mid-sprint. His fingers carved light into air. Eightfold ward of silence, complete spatial isolation. The most complex seal he'd attempted. 7 symbols. 8 points. Harmonic frequency calibrated to. The sphere reacted. Fired spikes of crystallized nothing. Anti-energy that didn't damage so much as erase. Gohan twisted midair, dodging 3. The 4th caught his shoulder. Pain like ice and fire and absence all at once. His arm went numb. Dead. The anti-energy was trying to delete his existence at molecular level. Gohan! Videl screamed distant. Muffled. He completed the seal with one hand. Slammed it down around the sphere. The ward activated. Space folded inward. The sphere found itself in a pocket dimension, isolated from baseline reality. Cut off from whatever had sent it, the spike stopped. The contamination spreading across the yard halted, but Gohan's arm was still numb. Still wrong. He could feel the anti-energy eating through his Saiyan cells, trying to unmake him from the inside out. Piccolo appeared beside him in a burst of displaced air. What happened? Breach probe. Contaminated with erasure energy. My shoulder. Gohan's vision swam. Can't move my arm. Can't feel it. It's disappearing. Piccolo grabbed him. Examined the wound with namekian healing senses. His face went pale. This isn't physical damage. It's existential. That energy is deleting your arm from reality itself. Can you fix it? I don't know how to heal something that's being unmade. Chi-Chi reached them, Goten clutching her leg. What's wrong with your brother? He's been hit by something bad. Piccolo's voice was tight. Chi-Chi, call Bulma. Tell her we need the medical capsule from Capsule Corporation. Tell her it's... Wait. Gohan's left hand, his good hand, grabbed Piccolo's wrist. The seal knowledge. There's a counter technique. Thread binding. Used to stitch reality back together after dimensional damage. You've never attempted that. I've never been deleted before either. Gohan's breathing was ragged. His shoulder had progressed past numb to absent. Like his arm was a phantom limb. Still there in his mind but not in reality. I can do this. I have to. If that energy reaches my core. He didn't finish. Didn't need to. If erasure reached his heart, his brain, his key center, gone. Not dead. Erased. Never existed. Videl knelt beside him. Tell me what you need, Anchor. I need someone to hold me in reality while I work. His vision was graying at the edges. My key is becoming unstable. Flickering between existing and not existing. I need a tether. I'll do it. Piccolo placed both hands on Gohan's chest. My key is stable. Fully in this dimension. Use it as your reference point. Videl, you too. Your energy. It's... Gohan coughed. It's pure. Human. Grounded. Help me remember I'm real. She pressed her palms against his back. Her key flowed into him. Warm. Alive. Undeniably present. Gohan closed his eyes. Reached for the knowledge. Thread binding. Advanced reality repair technique. Required understanding existence at quantum level. Required willingness to rebuild yourself atom by atom. Required desperation. He had that in abundance. The technique unfolded in his mind. Not instructions, experience. Memories from Namekian sages who'd used this to repair reality tears. He could feel their hands guiding his, their voices whispering the harmonic frequencies needed. Gohan opened his eyes. They glowed pure emerald. His right hand, the phantom hand that reality couldn't see, began moving. Drawing symbols in space that existed and didn't exist simultaneously. Threading reality back together. The pain was exquisite. Every atom he rebuilt screamed. His Saiyan biology fought the process. Cells wanted to either exist fully or not at all. This half-state violated everything his DNA knew, but his hybrid nature saved him again. Human flexibility. Namekian magical affinity. Saiyan adaptability. The combination let him exist in the impossible middle ground long enough to work. He stitched reality, one thread at a time, pulling existence back over the void where his arm had been. Weaving molecules into being through pure mathematical willpower. Minutes crawled. Hours. Time became negotiable when you were rebuilding yourself from concept to flesh. Piccolo and Videl held him. Kept him anchored. Their key steady presences reminding his particles they were supposed to cohere. Chi-Chi watched, silent tears streaming. Goten buried his face in her GI. Too young to understand but old enough to know his brother was hurting. Finally, Gohan drew the last symbol. The thread binding completed. Reality snapped back into focus. His arm returned. Solid. Real. He could feel it again. Move it. 5 fingers flexing. He collapsed forward. Piccolo caught him. That, Piccolo said quietly, was either the bravest or stupidest thing you've ever done. Both. Gohan's voice was ragged. Definitely both. Videl hugged him from behind. Her shoulders shaking. Don't ever do that again. My heart can't take it. No promises. Not with what's coming. Chi-Chi marched over. For a terrifying moment, Gohan thought she'd yell. Instead, she pulled him into a crushing embrace. Said nothing. Just held her son like gravity itself was negotiable. When she finally released him, her eyes were hard. You're going to explain everything. Every detail of this magic nonsense. And then, her voice became steel. You're going to train until you can stop this from happening again. Understand? Yes, ma'am. Good. Now get inside. You look half dead. I'll make you something to eat while you explain why there's a glowing sphere of evil in my yard. Gohan glanced at the barrier he'd created. The sphere inside pulsed rhythmically, trying to break free. The ward would hold, for now. But it was temporary. He'd need to either dispel the probe or strengthen the seal. Later. After food. After explanation. After he stopped shaking. Inside, over tea and rice balls Chi-Chi stress cooked in record time, Gohan explained. The dimensional breach. The countdown. The threat of something bigger coming through when the timer hit 0. Chi-Chi listened. Asked pointed questions. Understood more than Gohan expected. She'd been married to Goku long enough to know cosmic threats were just Tuesday. Goten sat quietly, playing with action figures but listening. His young Saiyan senses picking up the tension. So we have, Chi-Chi checked the clock. 23 hours before something worse appears, maybe. The countdown might be measuring seal degradation. Or dimensional anchor stability. Or, Gohan rubbed his temples. The knowledge is fragmented. The Namekian sages didn't encounter exactly this situation. I'm extrapolating. Piccolo stood by the window, watching the contained sphere. The probe is still active. Still sending data back through the dimensional tear. Whatever's on the other side knows we're here. Knows we can seal. That's bad? That's catastrophic. Piccolo turned. Demons aren't mindless. The ones powerful enough to breach dimensions are intelligent. Strategic. If they know Earth has someone who can use Namekian sealing magic, they'll either avoid us or come at us harder. Videl leaned forward. So what's the play? Strengthen the barrier? Seal the tear completely? I need to study the probe first. Gohan stood, ignoring his body's protests. Understand what sent it. What it's testing for. Then I can design a proper counter seal. You can barely stand, Chi-Chi pointed out. Mom's right. Piccolo's hand on his shoulder, gentle but firm. You just rebuilt yourself from quantum static. Your ki is fluctuating. You attempt complex seal work in this state and you'll create something worse. I know. Gohan sat back down. Fine. Rest first. Then work. His phone buzzed. The warning screen reappeared. 22 minutes and 13 seconds. The countdown had accelerated. 22 hours now. Or work now and rest later, he amended. Chi-Chi threw up her hands. Stubborn. Just like your father. Your father would just punch it, Piccolo corrected. Gohan is at least being strategic about his recklessness. High praise from you. Don't let it go to your head. Despite everything, Gohan smiled. This normalcy amid chaos. His family. His teacher. Videl. This was what he fought for. What the seals were meant to protect. He stood again. Steadier this time. Piccolo, help me examine the probe. Videl, can you monitor the dimensional tear? Tell me if it gets worse. What about me? Goten piped up. Gohan knelt to his brother's level. You help Mom. Keep the house safe. If anything weird happens, you tell us immediately. Deal? Goten nodded seriously. Puffed his chest out. I'll protect Mom. Chi-Chi ruffled his hair. My brave boy. They moved outside. The afternoon sun felt wrong against the backdrop of dimensional horror in the yard. Incongruous. Like reality couldn't decide between peaceful Sunday and apocalyptic threat, the barrier Gohan created still held. The sphere inside pulsed slower now. Conserving energy maybe. Or adapting to captivity, he approached carefully. Drew examination seals around the main containment. Geometric patterns that would analyze without disturbing. Information flooded his mind. The probe was old. Ancient beyond measure. Its structure wasn't physical matter. It was condensed concept. The idea of intrusion made manifest. And inside its crystalline shell, data, terabytes of reality readings being compressed and transmitted through the dimensional tear back to. Gohan's breath caught. What? Piccolo was beside him instantly. What did you find? The probe isn't from a demon. Gohan's hands trembled. It's from a prison. One of the original Namekian seals. The sages locked something away millennia ago, and this probe is being sent from inside the containment trying to find weaknesses in reality to escape through. Videl jogged over from where she'd been monitoring the tear. The spiral is rotating faster. Edges getting sharper. Because the probe is establishing an anchor. Gohan's mind raced. It's not just testing, it's preparing. Creating a foothold for whatever's sealed to manifest here. Can you stop it? I can try destroying the probe. But if I do it wrong, if the containment fails catastrophically, he looked at his house. His mother visible through the kitchen window. Goten playing inside. The backlash could vaporize everything within a mile radius. Piccolo's expression was grim. And if you don't destroy it, then in 22 hours, something that required 7 Namekian Grand Elders to seal gets a doorway into our reality. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Videl broke it. Option 3. Don't destroy it. Don't let it stay. Send it back. Both warriors turned to her. Send it back? Gohan repeated. You said the probe came from inside a prison? So the prison still exists. The seal is still there, just weakened. Videl gestured at the sphere. This thing is like a fishing line cast through a hole in the ice. Cut the line and it snaps back to the sender. Send the probe back through the tear with enough force and maybe, it'll impact the original seal from inside. Strengthen it instead of weakening it. Gohan stared at her. That's brilliant. And insane. And might work. Might? Piccolo crossed his arms. The mathematics are complex. I need to calculate the exact trajectory, and code the probe with reversal harmonics. Time the release perfectly with the dimensional tear's rotation cycle. Gohan was already visualizing the seals required. Failure rate is probably 60%. What happens if it fails? Best case? Nothing. The probe just sits there. Worst case? I tear a bigger hole in reality trying to send it back and accelerate whatever's coming through. So we're back to option 1. Destroy it carefully. No. Gohan set his jaw. Videl's right. Destroying just removes the probe. Doesn't address the weakened prison. Doesn't stop the entity from sending more probes. Doesn't solve the problem. His eyes met Piccolo's. I need to send it back. Reinforce the original seal from both sides simultaneously. You don't even know where the original seal is. The probe does. Gohan pointed at the sphere. It's still connected. Transmitting data? That connection is a two-way street. I can trace it back to the source. Map the prison's location in dimensional space. Then you're opening a direct line to something that's been locked away since before Earth formed, Piccolo finished. Gohan, this isn't training. This isn't theory. One mistake and you give that entity exactly what it wants. I know. But what's the alternative? Wait for the countdown to hit 0? Hope it goes away. Gohan looked at his house again. I won't gamble with their safety. With Earth's safety. I have the knowledge. I have the tools. I need to try. Piccolo was silent for a long moment. Then, your father would already be punching it. Good thing I'm not my father. Yes. A ghost of a smile. Good thing. Videl stepped closer. What do you need from us? Time. The seals required are complex. I need to construct a reversal array, encode it with dimensional coordinates, synchronize it with the tier's rotation. Gohan calculated. 4 hours minimum. Maybe 6. You two need to keep watch. If the probe reacts badly, if the countdown accelerates, if anything changes, tell me immediately. We've got your back. Gohan nodded. Sat cross-legged on the corrupted earth. Closed his eyes. Reached for the knowledge. The mathematics were beautiful, terrible and elegant, and so complex they made his previous understanding of reality look childish. But beautiful nonetheless. Gohan's mind split into parallel tracks. One part monitoring his body, maintaining basic functions. Another tracking time, countdown, environmental changes. The rest? Lost in geometric poetry. He needed 7 primary seals. Each one a building block for the reversal array. First seal, dimensional mapping. Required tracing the probe's connection back through folded space to identify the prison's coordinates. Easy in theory. In practice, following a quantum thread through 17 layers of reality, while the thread actively tried to dissolve him, he drew the mapping seal with his left hand. Symbols carved in light. Fed his key through carefully. Too much power and the thread snapped. Too little and he couldn't establish connection. Balance. Precision. Control. The thread took hold. Information flowed backward. Gohan's consciousness stretched across dimensional barriers, following the connection to its source. He saw it. The prison. Massive beyond comprehension. A geometric construct floating in the space between spaces. Sealed with mathematics that made his head ache. And inside, something noticed him. Gohan's eyes snapped open. Gasping. Blood dripped from his nose. Piccolo was there. What happened? It felt me looking. Gohan wiped his face. The entity inside the prison. It's aware. Intelligent. And it's... He struggled for words. Hungry. That's the only way to describe it. It's been locked away for so long that existence itself has become food to it. Can you still do this? Have to. The mapping seal worked. I have the coordinates. Gohan's hands were already moving, drawing the second seal. Next step, reversal harmonic. This encodes the probe with instructions to return along its transmission path. Second seal, reversal harmonic. Mathematical recursion folded into energy signature. Make the probe want to go home. Convince its fundamental structure that staying here violated its purpose. This one fought him. The probe's intelligence, limited but present, recognized the threat. Started cycling through defensive frequencies. Gohan had to adapt the seal in real time, chasing the probe's frequency changes through 17 octaves of harmonic spectrum. Sweat poured down his face. His ki fluctuated. The symbols in his array kept trying to destabilize. Videl's voice cut through his concentration. The tear is spinning faster. Double speed now, that's normal. Gohan didn't open his eyes. It senses what I'm doing. Trying to accelerate the breach before I can stop it. How much time left? On the countdown? 19 hours. On my work? He completed the reversal harmonic. Locked it in place. 4 more seals. 3 hours if nothing goes wrong. And when does nothing go wrong for us? Fair point. Third seal. Trajectory calculation. This was pure mathematics. Account for dimensional drift, reality curvature, quantum uncertainty. Calculate the perfect path that would send the probe back through the tear at exactly the right angle to impact the original prison seal and reinforce it instead of weakening it further. Gohan lost himself in numbers. Equations sprawled across his mind's eye. Variables interacted in cascading complexity. 1 decimal point wrong and the probe would miss, ricochet through dimensional walls, maybe tear a hole in reality's foundation. No pressure. 2 hours passed. His body ached from sitting motionless. His mind ached from calculations that had no margin for error, but the trajectory locked. Perfect with intolerances that made quantum mechanics look sloppy. 4th seal, energy amplification. The probe needed momentum. Raw force to punch through the dimensional barrier and accelerate back to its source. This seal would convert Gohan's ki into directional thrust. Dangerous. His Saiyan energy was volatile. Too much power and the probe would hit the prison like a meteor. Shatter the original seal entirely. Free the entity. Too little and it wouldn't make it through the tear. Would get stuck between dimensions. Anchor the breach open permanently. Gohan calculated the exact amount needed. Down to individual ki particles. His control had to be surgical. He drew the amplification seal. Fed it his energy. Watched the power flow into geometric patterns that would compress and direct the force. The probe began vibrating, resonating with the building seals. It wanted to move now. The reversal harmonic was working, making it yearn for home. 5th seal, temporal synchronization. The tear rotated on a specific cycle. Gohan needed to time the release perfectly. Send the probe through when the tear's edges aligned with the prison's dimensional coordinates. This required patience. Waiting. Watching the tear's rotation through his mapping seal. Feeling the rhythm of reality's breathing. He found the pattern. Every 17 seconds, a moment where the tear's geometry matched the prison's entrance angle. A window lasting 0.3 seconds. 1 chance. That's all he'd get. 6th seal, stabilization array. This one wrapped around all the others. Held them together. Prevented the complex seal work from collapsing under its own mathematical weight. Standard technique. But scaled up to encompass 6 other advanced seals operating simultaneously? Gohan had never attempted anything this intricate. His hands moved through forms Piccolo never taught him. Knowledge from the scroll guiding every gesture. The stabilization array took shape around the containment barrier. A cage of light holding a cage of light holding a sphere of intrusion. Beautiful. Deadly. 1 flaw and it all collapsed. Gohan checked. Double-checked. Ran diagnostics using examination seals. Stable. Barely. But stable. 7th seal, the release trigger. Simple in concept, a switch to activate everything at once. In practice? Coordinating 7 advanced seals to fire in perfect sequence required timing measured in nanoseconds. This was the part where Gohan's Saiyan biology finally helped instead of hindered. His combat instincts. His ability to perceive time at superhuman speed. The same reflexes that let him dodge ki blasts could time seal activation. He drew the trigger seal. Linked it to his heartbeat. When his pulse hit exactly 127 beats per minute, his natural rhythm during focused meditation, the trigger would activate. Now came the hardest part. Waiting. Gohan opened his eyes. The sun had set. Stars visible through the dimensional tear. How long had he been working? Piccolo sat nearby, reading his meditation manual but watching Gohan peripherally. It's ready, Gohan croaked. His throat was desert dry. Videl appeared with water. He drained the bottle in seconds. How long was I under? 5 hours. She pointed at the tear. That thing has been getting more aggressive. Throwing off sparks now. Little reality fragments. Gohan lipped up. She was right. The spiral edges were fraying. Pieces of dimensional fabric peeling off. Each fragment that hit the ground corrupted a patch of Earth similar to the probe's initial impact. We're running out of time. 13 hours left on the countdown. Piccolo stood. Your seals ready? As ready as I can make them. Gohan stood too. Wobbled. Videl caught his arm. Thanks. Now comes the dangerous part. The last 5 hours weren't dangerous? That was preparation. This is execution. Gohan approached the containment barrier. 7 seals surrounded it now, pulsing in synchronized rhythm. I need to time the release perfectly. Send the probe through during the tear's alignment window. 0.3 seconds. 1 chance. What if you miss? Then we find out what happens when a dimensional probe detonates between realities. Gohan smiled without humor. Probably nothing good. Chi-Chi emerged from the house. She'd been watching from windows. Staying out of the way but present. Always present. Be careful, was all she said. I will, Mom. Gohan closed his eyes. Felt his heartbeat. Felt the tear's rotation. Felt the universe breathing around him. The seals were extensions of his will now. He didn't need to consciously activate each one. Didn't need to think through the sequence. His body knew. His ki knew. Trust the knowledge. Trust his training. Trust himself. His heartbeat climbed. 115. 120. 123. The tear rotated. Edges aligning with his mapped coordinates. 125. 0.3 seconds until the window opened. 127. Now, the trigger seal fired. Everything happened in cascade. Stabilization array released. Energy amplification converted Gohan's ki into directional thrust. Trajectory calculation guided the force vector. Reversal harmonics sang through the probe's structure. Temporal synchronization matched the tear's rhythm, and the mapping seal opened a path straight to the prison's heart. The containment barrier shattered. The probe launched. It moved faster than light. Faster than thought. A bullet of condensed concept punching through the dimensional tear at impossible velocity. Gohan's consciousness rode the connection. Saw through the probe's perspective as it traveled between layers of reality. 17 dimensions blurred past. The prison approached. Impact. The probe hit the original seal from inside. Perfect angle. Perfect force. The namekian mathematics reinforcing the ancient ward flared emerald across dimensional barriers, and the entity inside screamed. Not sound. Feeling. Rage and hunger and recognition transmitted across the probe's connection directly into Gohan's mind. Scholar child. You strengthened my chains today. But seals weaken. Knowledge spreads. I have eternity. You have decades. We will meet again. The voice was mountains grinding. Oceans burning. Realities ending. Gohan severed the connection. Stumbled backward. His mind reeling from the psychic assault. The dimensional tear above his house began closing, not vanishing. Sealing. The probe's impact on the prison had reinforced both sides of dimensional barrier simultaneously. The tear's edges drew together like a wound stitching itself. Smaller. Smaller. Gone. Gohan collapsed to his knees. Gasping. His entire body shaking from post-adrenaline crash and magical exhaustion. The yard was quiet. Contaminated patches of earth remained but stopped spreading. The threat was over. For now. Piccolo helped him up. Did it work? The prison seal is stronger. The entity can't send more probes. Won't be able to for. Gohan's knowledge supplied numbers. Centuries. Maybe millennia. We bought time. Good. Piccolo's grip was steady. Supportive. But it knows about me now. Knows Earth has someone who can use the ancient seals. Gohan met his teacher's eyes. It called me scholar child. Like it was expecting me, like the Namekian sages told it about whoever inherited their knowledge. A warning? A promise. Gohan looked at where the tear had been. Stars visible now. Normal stars in normal space. This won't be the last time. The entity said seals weaken. That we'll meet again. Videl joined them. So you didn't solve the problem. You delayed it. Sometimes that's the best you can do. Gohan tried to smile. Failed. Buy time. Grow stronger. Learn more. Hope it's enough. Chi-Chi wrapped a blanket around his shoulders. When had she gotten that? Come inside. You look half dead. Again, becoming a habit, a bad one. Inside, the house smelled like home. Dinner cooking. Normal sounds. Goten had fallen asleep on the couch, action figures still clutched in small hands. Gohan sat at the kitchen table. Accepted the rice and soup his mother pressed into his hands. ate mechanically while his mind processed everything that happened. He'd done it. Stopped the breach. Sent the probe back. Reinforced an ancient seal that protected Earth from something that made demons look friendly. But he'd also established contact. Let the entity know he existed. Painted a target on himself, on his family, for threats that thought in geological timescales. You okay? Vidal sat beside him. Define okay. Stupid question. Sorry. No, I just... Gohan set down his spoon. I keep thinking about what that thing said. About meeting again. About having eternity while I have decades. He looked at her. What if I'm not enough? What if the knowledge I carry isn't sufficient to stop what's coming? Then you get better. Learn more. Find help. She bumped his shoulder. You're not doing this alone, Gohan. Stop trying to carry everything yourself. Piccolo spoke from the doorway. She's right. The Namekian sages worked in groups for a reason. No single person, no matter how talented, can master all of this alone. He crossed his arms. You need students. People you can teach. Share the burden. Who'd want to learn this? It's dangerous. Complicated. Requires dedication, intelligence, courage. Piccolo's mouth quirked. Sound like anyone you know? Gohan looked at Vidal. She grinned. I'm already learning ki control. What's a little reality-bending magic on top of that? Vidal, this isn't a game. I know. I was there. Watched you nearly get erased from existence. Watched you spend 5 hours building the most complex thing I've ever seen. Her eyes were serious. I want to help. Want to understand. Teach me. Before Gohan could respond, Goten appeared in the doorway. Rubbing sleep from his eyes. I want to learn too, he mumbled. Want to help Big Brother fight bad things. Chi-Chi opened her mouth. Probably to say her 7-year-old wasn't learning dimensional magic. But paused. Looked at Gohan. At Piccolo. At the world that kept throwing impossible challenges at her family. Fine, she said quietly. But homework first. Magic second. And if I find out anyone is putting themselves in unnecessary danger, I'm using the frying pan. Understood? Yes, ma'am, came the chorus. Gohan felt something shift. The weight on his shoulders didn't disappear. But it distributed. Shared across people he trusted. People who chose to stand with him. His phone buzzed. The warning screen reappeared one last time. Dimensional breach. Resolved threat level. Minimal next scan. 168 hours. 1 week until the next automatic check. 1 week to rest, train, prepare. 1 week before the countdown started again. Because it would start again. The entity was right. Seals weakened. And Gohan had just announced himself to everything that watched dimensional barriers. But for tonight? For tonight they were safe. Gohan finished his soup. Helped his mother clean up. Played a round of cards with Goten before bedtime. Walked Vidal to the door and promised to call tomorrow. Normal things. Human things. The knowledge in his head pulsed quietly. Organized. Ready. Waiting for the next challenge. Gohan looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond 17 layers of reality, an entity counted down the eons until their paths crossed again. Let it wait, he whispered. I'll be ready. And deep in his mind, the Namekian sage's final message echoed. The scholar warrior walks the line between knowing and doing. Between power and wisdom. The path is lonely. But never walked alone. Gohan closed the door. Locked it. Went to bed. Tomorrow, training would begin. Today had taught him something crucial. Knowledge alone wasn't enough. He needed experience. Practice. The ability to execute under pressure without hesitation. He needed to become what the scroll's creators envisioned. A legend in the making. Scholar. Warrior. Bridge between worlds. The threads of reality were his to weave. He just had to learn not to cut himself on them. The library materialized around Gohan like a fever dream. One moment he stood in Supreme Kai's garden. Purple grass, pink sky, everything wrong-colored and alien. The next, reality folded. Space compressed. His stomach lurched as dimensional coordinates rewrote themselves. Then books. Everywhere. Shelves stretched toward infinity. Corridors twisted into impossible geometries. Staircases led sideways, upward, through each other. The smell hit next: ancient paper, ozone, something sweet and rotten simultaneously. What? Gohan spun. Where? Supreme Kai stood beside him, hands clasped, looking smug. The Celestial Archive exists outside normal space-time. Houses knowledge from 10,000 civilizations. His smile was all teeth. You wanted to learn? This is where gods study. You could have warned me before teleporting. Where's the fun in that? Gohan's eye twitched. 3 days since the dimensional breach. 3 days of Supreme Kai appearing randomly, at breakfast, during training, once in the shower, which led to screaming and a very awkward conversation, insisting Gohan needed proper instruction. Apparently proper instruction involved cosmic kidnapping. A figure emerged from the stacks. Tall, robed in shifting colors, face hidden behind a mask of pure starlight. This is the Saiyan namekian hybrid? Voice like crystals chiming. He looks young. He defeated a dimensional breach probe solo, Supreme Kai countered. Reinforced an Elder Seal without training. His potential is irrelevant if he dies during instruction. The figure circled Gohan. Examining. The archive has killed students before. Will kill students again. Knowledge here doesn't come freely. It takes. Gohan's hand moved to his GI. Ready to power up. I didn't agree to. You touched the namekian scroll. The figure stopped circling. You opened the door. Now you walk through or it walks through you. A pause. Only 2 options here. Learn or break. Encouraging. Truth rarely is. Supreme Kai stepped forward. Elder Scribe, I vouch for this one. His hybrid nature makes him adaptable. His determination is determination. The Elder Scribe laughed. Bitter sound. Determination got my last student trapped in a book for 3 centuries. He's still in there. Screaming. Want to join him? Gohan's jaw set. No. But I'm not running either. Why? Because things are waking up. Sealed entities. Dimensional threats. And I'm the only one on Earth who can read their language. Who understands the mathematics holding them back. His fists clenched. I don't have the luxury of being scared. Silence. The Elder Scribe tilted their head. Interesting. You don't want this. No. But you'll do it anyway. Yes. The figure turned. Started walking. Follow. Touch nothing. Read nothing without permission. The archive is alive. It's hungry. It will try to eat your mind. Just another Tuesday, Gohan muttered. They walked through impossible corridors. Books floated past. Some screamed. Others whispered secrets in dead languages. One tried to bite Gohan's hand. He dodged reflexively. The archive categorizes knowledge by danger level, the Elder Scribe explained. What you see here? Entry-level material. Meditation techniques. Basic dimensional theory. Harmless. The book just tried to eat me. I said entry-level? Not safe. They descended a staircase that looped through itself 3 times. Entered a chamber where gravity pointed sideways. Gohan stumbled. Caught himself. Adjusted. The Elder Scribe nodded approval. Good. Your Saiyan biology compensates quickly. You'll need that. The chamber's center held a table. Floating. Surrounded by concentric rings of light that rotated at different speeds. And on the table, a single book, leather-bound. Ancient. Pulsing with emerald energy, Gohan recognized immediately. That's namekian magic, he breathed. Specifically? The Codex of Threads. The Elder Scribe gestured. Written by the same sages who created your scroll. This is their complete work. Everything they learned about reality manipulation. Sealing, binding. The mathematics of existence itself. Gohan approached slowly. Why show me this? Because you need it. The scroll gave you foundation. Basics. But basics won't stop what's coming. The figure pointed at the book. This will teach you to weave reality like fabric. Bend dimensional barriers. Create seals that can hold gods. What's the catch? Smart question. The Elder Scribe's mask gleamed. The catch is reading it will hurt. A lot. The knowledge will try to overwhelm you again. Break your mind. Rewrite your personality. Your Saiyan namekian hybrid nature saved you once. May not save you twice. Encouraging. I don't encourage. I warn. The figure stepped back. You have choice. Read carefully. 1 page at a time. Spend years mastering this safely. Or gamble. Read multiple sections. Risk mental collapse. But learn fast enough to face what's coming. Gohan stared at the codex. Felt its pull. The knowledge inside sank to the scroll memory in his head. Completion. Understanding. Power. How many students tried the fast way? 17. How many survived? Silence. None, the elder scribe finally said. But none were you. Gohan thought about the entity's promise. We'll meet again. Thought about dimensional tears. Sealed demons. Things that viewed centuries as coffee breaks. Thought about Goten. Mom. Videl. Piccolo. Earth. I'll try the fast way. Supreme Kai grabbed his shoulder. Gohan, think about this. I have. He met the Kai's eyes. If I study safely for years, Earth's defenseless meanwhile. Something breaks through? People die while I'm reading. He turned back to the codex. I'm adaptable. Hybrid genetics. Saiyan evolution. It's not arrogance. It's just necessity, the elder scribe finished. Spoken like someone who understands burden. A pause. Very well. But we do this my way. Controlled chaos. I'll guide you through sections. Pull you back when your mind starts fragmenting. Understand? Yes. Good. Sit. Gohan sat. The table adjusted height automatically. The codex floated closer. First rule, never read alone. I'll monitor your key signature. When it destabilizes past threshold, we stop. No arguments. Understood. Second rule, you will see things. Memories that aren't yours. Lives that never happened. The codex contains residual consciousness from everyone who contributed. They'll try to overwrite you, pull you into their timelines. Resist. Gohan's throat went dry. How? Remember who you are. Anchor yourself to your reality. Your name. Your family. What makes you you? The elder scribe leaned closer. The moment you forget, you're gone. Third rule? There is no third rule. Ready? No. But let's do it anyway. The elder scribe opened the codex. Light exploded outward. Gohan's mind shattered. Information tsunami. Worse than the scroll. Exponentially worse. This wasn't just knowledge, it was experience. Lifetimes of Namekian sages downloading simultaneously. He was a grand elder watching his planet die. Feeling 7 billion lives extinguish. Pouring final knowledge into the codex as atmosphere burned away. He was a young student learning his first seal. Excitement. Wonder. Pride when the barrier held. He was a warrior mage facing a demon the size of continents. Drawing seals with ki while dodging attacks that cracked planets. Terror. Determination. The seal completing just before. No. Gohan grabbed his identity. His self. Pulled back from the memory torrent. I'm Gohan's son. Half Saiyan. Half human. I live on Earth. My mother is Chi-Chi. My brother is Goten. My teacher is Piccolo. I am Gohan. The memories receded slightly. Still there. Still crushing. But manageable. Good. The elder scribe's voice distant. Muffled. You're holding. Keep reading. The codex pages turned themselves. Section 1. Fundamental harmonics. Reality operates on frequencies. Everything, matter, energy, thought, vibrates at specific rates. Change the frequency? Change the thing. Sealing magic is applied frequency manipulation. Gohan understood. Not intellectually. Cellularly. His ki began resonating at harmonic intervals. Perfect fifths. Major sevenths. Intervals that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. His body started glowing. Emerald mixed with gold. The light pulsed rhythmically. He's synchronizing already. Supreme Kai's voice shocked. That should take months. Saiyan adaptability, the elder scribe murmured. Combined with existing scroll knowledge. He's not learning. He's remembering. Section 2, Dimensional Cartography. Space has 17 layers. Most species perceive 3. Namekian sages learn to see all 17. Navigate them. Create seals that function across multiple dimensional strata simultaneously. Gohan's vision expanded. He saw the archive's true structure now. Not impossible architecture. Multidimensional architecture. The staircases didn't defy physics. They existed across several spatial layers at once. Looked impossible from 3-dimensional perspective but perfectly logical in 17. His head throbbed. Blood trickled from his nose. Brain tissue wasn't meant to process 17-dimensional calculus, but his hybrid biology adapted. Neural pathways rewrote on the fly. Synapses formed connections that violated normal anatomy. His Saiyan cells evolved in real time to handle the cognitive load. It hurt. Gods, it hurt. But it worked. Section 3. The mathematics of binding. To seal something, you must first understand its true name. Not the label others use. The fundamental frequency that defines its existence. Speak the true name in mathematical form? You control the thing. This section came with warnings. Danger notices in 17 languages. Cautions about attempting true name derivation on entities stronger than yourself. Gohan read anyway. Absorb the formulas. The techniques. How to listen to reality, and hear the equations underneath. How to translate existence into mathematics and mathematics back into. He was somewhere else, standing in void. Absolute nothing. Facing something massive. The entity from the prison. Its presence crushed dimensional barriers just existing. Scholar child, it rumbled. Peeking through keyholes? Dangerous. This wasn't real. Couldn't be. He was still in the archive, still reading. This was just a memory? A warning? A future that might be? The entity laughed. Mountains crumbling. All 3. None. I touch your mind through the codex. Show you what awaits. You can't reach me here. No. But I can prepare you. Show you the truth. Space rippled. Changed. Gohan saw Earth. Burning. Dimensional tears everywhere. Demons pouring through. And standing alone against the tide, himself, older. Scarred. Eyes glowing permanent emerald. Drawing seals so complex they bent light. Fighting not with fists but with reality itself. Weaving barriers. Banishing horrors. Holding back the apocalypse through sheer knowledge. And losing, slowly. Inevitably. Alone. This is your future, the entity whispered. The scholar warrior legend. Powerful. Brilliant. Solitary. Because everyone you love can't follow where you're going. Can't understand the mathematics you speak. Can't bear the weight you carry. No. Gohan's fists clenched. I won't let that happen. You won't have choice. The path you walk leads one direction. Toward knowledge so vast it isolates. Toward power so great it alienates. You'll save Earth. Save the universe. And you'll do it alone. You're wrong, am I? The entity's presence intensified. Look at yourself. Already you speak languages your mother doesn't understand. See dimensions your friends can't perceive. Think in mathematics that hurt normal minds. How long before the gap becomes unbridgeable? Gohan wanted to argue. But the words stuck. Because part of him, small, terrified part, agreed. That's the real prison, the entity continued. Not the seal holding me. Not the barriers protecting your reality. It's the isolation knowledge brings. The loneliness of being the only one who understands. Then I'll teach them. Share what I know. And watch them break trying to learn. Watch their minds fragment under information that took you Saiyan biology to survive. The entity leaned closer. Close enough Gohan felt non-existent breath. You're different now. Changed. Becoming something neither Saiyan nor human nor Namekian. Something new. Something alone. Get out of my head! Gohan's power exploded. Golden aura erupted. Super Saiyan transformation ignited reflexively. His key signature spiked. The elder scribe's hand slammed down on his shoulder. Reality snapped back. Gohan was in the archive again. At the table. The codex still open. But his transformation had scorched the floating platform, left marks in space itself. What happened? The elder scribe's voice was sharp. Your key signature went chaotic. Started splitting across dimensional layers. The entity. The one I sealed. It, Gohan gasped. It contacted me. Through the codex. Showed me a possible future. Yes. The codex contains prophecy fragments. Probability matrices. The elder scribe closed the book. Enough. You've read 3 sections in 17 minutes. Your mind is fragmenting. I can keep going. No. Firm. Final. What did it show you? Gohan explained. The vision. The burning earth. Himself fighting alone. The entity's words about isolation. Supreme Kai listened. Expression grave. Prophecies are tricky. Self-fulfilling if you believe them. Self-defeating if you deny them. So what do I do? You prove it wrong. The elder scribe pulled him upright. The entity wants you afraid. Isolated. It showed you worst-case scenario deliberately. Planted doubt. A pause. But futures aren't fixed. You have choice. Agency. The power to write different ending. How? By not walking the path alone. By building connections instead of severing them. By teaching instead of hoarding knowledge. The figure turned. Started walking. Come. We're done here for today, but I've only read 3 sections. 3 sections in 17 minutes. You absorb information that should take months. Your brain needs time to integrate. Process. Stabilize. The elder scribe glanced back. Push further now and you risk exactly what the entity warned about. Isolation through transformation into something no longer human. Gohan followed reluctantly. His mind still buzzed. The knowledge from 3 sections organized itself. Filed into mental categories. But slowly. Carefully. His hybrid biology working overtime to prevent overload. They walked back through the archive. Books whispered. Offered secrets. Promised power. Gohan ignored them. Supreme Kai matched his pace. How do you feel? Like I've been hit by a truck. Made of math. Driven by a cosmic entity with self-esteem issues. Specific. I've learned to be specific. They reached the exit portal. The elder scribe paused. You'll return tomorrow. Read 3 more sections. Then 3 more the next day. Controlled exposure. Build your tolerance gradually. How many sections total? 47. Gohan calculated. That's 16 days minimum. 16 days to learn what took Namekian civilization millennia to develop. Still seems fast. The elder scribe's mask gleamed. You're impatient. Like all warriors. But magic requires patience. Understanding. Time. Time is what I don't have. Then make it. Bend it. You're learning dimensional manipulation. Time is just another dimension. The figure gestured. Through the portal. You're expected at Orange Star High in 40 minutes. Wait, what? How long was I? Time moves differently here. You spent 4 hours reading. Outside? 20 minutes passed. The elder scribe pointed. Go. Be student. Be son. Be human. Remember who you are between lessons. Crucial. Gohan stepped through. Reality compressed. Expanded. Reformed. He stood in Supreme Kai's garden again. Purple grass. Pink sky. Everything surreal. But his watch showed 7:23 a.m. He had exactly 37 minutes to fly home, shower, change, and get to school. Crap, he blasted off. Sonic boom rippled across the sacred world of Kais. Supreme Kai watched him go. Smiled slightly. Turned to empty space. You can come out now. Elder Kai materialized. Grinning. The boy's got potential. Stupid amounts of it. But he's carrying weight that'll crush him eventually. Not if we help. We? Elder Kai snorted. I'm retired. Out of the hero business. Let the youngsters save the universe. You trained him for 2 days before the Bu incident. That was different. That was, Elder Kai paused. Okay, fair point. But this? This is deeper. More dangerous. The knowledge he's absorbing will change him fundamentally. Might lose himself, which is why he needs anchors. People to remind him who he is. Supreme Kai's expression turned serious. The entity was right about one thing. Knowledge isolates if you let it. Gohan's at crossroads. Either he learns to share the burden or it buries him. And you think I should help? You're the eldest Kai. You've forgotten more about dimensional magic than most species ever learn. Plus, Supreme Kai grinned. You're bored. Admit it. Elder Kai grumbled. Complained. Swore colorfully in 3 dead languages, then sighed. Fine. I'll help. But only because watching that boy try to balance schoolwork with cosmic horror studies sounds hilarious. Your compassion is overwhelming. I contain multitudes. Gohan made it to school with 4 minutes to spare. He slid into his desk. Hair still damp from the world's fastest shower. Uniform barely straightened. His backpack contained homework he'd finished using mathematical formulas he learned from the codex, which felt like cheating but technically wasn't. Videl sat beside him. Raised an eyebrow. You look like I was abducted by cosmic entities for educational purposes? I was going to say frazzled, but sure. That works. She studied him. Your energy is doing that thing again. The tingly weird thing. What happened? I'll explain after class. He stopped. Erasa leaned over from the row behind. Did you study for the calculus test? Because I totally didn't and I'm freaking out. Gohan blinked. Test? What test? The one Professor Kimura announced Friday? Worth 20% of our grade? Erasa waved her notes, frantically. Please tell me you remember. He didn't. Friday felt like 17 years ago. His brain had been too full of dimensional breach protocols to retain information about derivatives. But he'd also absorbed mathematical knowledge from beings who calculated in 17 dimensions for fun. I'll be fine, he said. The test arrived. Gohan glanced at the questions. His mind processed them in 3 seconds. The codex knowledge activated automatically. Derivatives? Child's play compared to calculating harmonic frequencies across dimensional barriers. Integrals? Basic stuff when you understood spatial mathematics at cosmic scale. He finished in 12 minutes. Spent the remaining 43 drawing namekian seal arrays in his notebook margins. Practicing. Memorizing. Integrating what he'd learned. Videl noticed. Leaned over. Whispered, Are those the symbols from your magic? Yeah. Trying to memorize the basic forms. 7 primary seals. 17 variations each. Need them internalized so I can draw them reflexively. During calc test? Multitasking. Professor Kimura walked past. Glanced at Gohan's paper. Nodded approval at the completed answers. Didn't notice the glowing emerald symbols in the margins. Class ended. Students fled. Gohan and Videl stayed behind. Okay, explain. She crossed her arms. And don't leave out the scary parts. I want the truth, so he told her. The archive. The codex. The entity's warning. The vision of fighting alone. Everything. Videl listened. Processed. Then, the cosmic entity is an idiot. What? It showed you a future where you're alone? Where knowledge isolated you from everyone? She poked his chest. That's only true if you let it happen. If you decide to carry everything yourself. But you're not that stupid. I'm not. You asked me to help monitor the dimensional tear. Asked Piccolo to train you? You're already sharing the burden. She grabbed his notebook. Examined the sealed drawings. Teach me these. The basic ones. I can't do the advanced stuff yet, but I can learn foundations. Be your assistant. Your anchor. Videl, it's dangerous. So is everything we do. I've been punched by Cell Juniors. Learned to fly through sheer stubbornness. Figured out key control by watching you. Her eyes were fierce. I'm not letting you face cosmic horror alone because some demon told you isolation was inevitable. That's bullcrap. Gohan stared. Then laughed. Couldn't help it. You're right. It is bullcrap, damn straight. She handed back the notebook. So, Lesson 1. What do these symbols mean? They spent lunch period in the library. Gohan explained basic seal theory. showed Vidal how to sense harmonic frequencies. How to draw arrays that affected energy rather than matter. She picked it up faster than expected. Her key control gave her foundation. Her detective's mind helped her grasp the geometric logic. By the end of lunch, she'd drawn her first successful containment seal. Tiny. Weak. Holding nothing but air molecules, but stable. I did it! She pumped her fist. The seal flickered. Collapsed. Ah, that's normal. First seals always fail. Took me 17 tries before mine held longer than 10 seconds. Gohan grinned. You're already ahead of schedule, because I've got the best teacher, or the most stubborn student, both. Definitely both. The warning bell rang. They rushed to afternoon classes. Gohan's mind split between listening to history lecture and processing codex knowledge, multitasking at cognitive levels that would give normal humans migraines. After school, Piccolo was waiting, standing on the roof. Arms crossed. Expression inscrutable. We need to talk, he said. Vidal glanced between them. I'll catch a ride with Erasa. Call me later? Yeah. Sorry, she left. Gohan joined Piccolo on the roof edge. Supreme Kai told me about the archive, Piccolo started. About the codex. The accelerated learning. A pause. You're pushing too hard. I don't have choice. There's always choice. You're choosing speed over safety. Risking mental collapse because you're scared of not being ready. Piccolo turned. Met his eyes. I get it. I do, but Gohan, you're no good to Earth if you break yourself learning to protect it. The entity said things are coming. Worse things. I need to be ready. You need to be sane. Whole. Functional. Piccolo's hand on his shoulder. Heavy. Grounding. I've watched you grow up. Trained you. Fought beside you. And I'm telling you as your teacher and your friend, slow down. You don't have to master everything in 2 weeks, but if something breaks through, then we handle it together. Me. Your father. Vegeta. The Z Fighters. You're not the only guardian Earth has. A pause. Stop trying to be. The words hit harder than expected. Gohan sat on the roof edge. Let his legs dangle. The vision showed me alone. Fighting alone. Dying alone. And his voice cracked. I'm terrified that's true. That this knowledge will make me so different I can't connect with anyone anymore. Piccolo sat beside him. Silence stretched. Then, when I first came to Earth, I was alone. By choice. I didn't need anyone. Didn't want anyone. Thought connection was weakness. He looked at the sky. Took a 4-year-old punching me in the face to realize I was wrong. Gohan smiled slightly. I didn't punch you. I headbutt you. Semantics. Point is, you taught me connection isn't weakness. It's strength. The reason I fight. The reason I change. Piccolo's expression softened. Don't forget your own lesson. Don't let knowledge convince you isolation is inevitable. It's a choice. Choose different. How? By teaching Vidal. By asking for help. By remembering you're part of something bigger. Piccolo stood. Extended his hand. Come on. We're training. Now. I'm teaching you something the Codex can't. They flew to the wasteland. Landed among familiar cracked earth and scattered boulders. Show me your seals, Piccolo ordered. The ones you learned today. Gohan drew them. Fundamental harmonics. Dimensional cartography. Mathematics of binding. Each one more complex than the last. His hands moved with precision that came from absorbed memories. Perfect technique. Flawless execution. Piccolo nodded. Good. Now do them again. But this time, think about why you're doing them. Not the how. The why. I don't understand. The Codex gave you technique. Perfect forms. But technique without purpose is just motion. Piccolo crossed his arms. Why do you seal demons? Why bind threats? Why protect Earth? Gohan opened his mouth. Closed it. Actually thought. Because people I love live here. My family. Friends. Because they can't defend themselves against dimensional threats. Because I have the knowledge and the power and therefore the responsibility. better, but deeper. Why do you specifically do this? Not as a Saiyan. Not as a scholar. As Gohan, he drew another seal. Slower this time. Thinking through each symbol. Because I want a world where Goten can grow up safe. Where Mom doesn't have to worry about demons every other week. Where Videl can chase her dreams without cosmic horror interrupting. The seal glowed brighter. Because I'm tired of losing people. Tired of fighting. But I'll keep doing it until the threats stop coming. The seal pulsed. Changed. The harmonic frequency shifted into something warmer. More personal. Piccolo smiled. There. You see that? The seal responded to your intention. Your emotional truth. That's what the Codex can't teach. The human part. The part that makes your magic yours. Gohan stared at the modified seal. It looked different now. Still technically correct. But infused with something extra. Something alive. The Namekian sages were brilliant, Piccolo continued. Their techniques are flawless. But they were also ancient. Detached. They sealed demons out of duty. Cosmic responsibility. He pointed at the seal. You seal them out of love. Love for your world. Your people. That's your advantage. Your unique strength. Love makes my seals stronger? Intention does. Purpose does. And your purpose is rooted in connection. In protecting what you care about. Piccolo walked closer. The entity tried to convince you isolation was inevitable. But isolation comes from forgetting why you fight. Remember your why. You'll never be alone. Gohan felt something shift. The knowledge in his head, vast, ancient, sometimes overwhelming, suddenly felt less alien. Less like borrowed power and more like a tool he'd chosen to wield for his own reasons. Thank you, he said quietly. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You already knew this. I just reminded you. They trained until sunset. Gohan drawing seals with intention instead of just technique. Each one unique. Personalized. Infused with his specific reason for existing, the seals grew stronger. More stable. Burned brighter. By the time they stopped, Gohan was exhausted. But it was good exhaustion. Earned through practice. Through growth that felt genuine instead of downloaded. Flying home, he felt lighter. The knowledge was still there. The Codex memories. The scroll teachings. But they didn't feel like foreign objects crammed into his skull anymore. They felt integrated. Part of him. Mom had dinner waiting. Fried chicken, not pork, rice, vegetables. Normal food. Human food. Grounding. Goten babbled about his day. Complained about homework. Demonstrated a new ki blast he'd invented. Chi-Chi listened. Smiled. Occasionally interjected with life advice. Normal family dinner. Gohan absorbed it. Let the mundane conversation wash over him. Reminded himself this was real. This mattered. This was what the seals protected. After dinner, his phone buzzed. Videl, practiced the seal for an hour. Made it last 30 seconds. New record. Gohan, that's amazing. Took me 2 days to hit 30 seconds. Videl lies. You're just being nice. Gohan, maybe. But you're still learning fast. Videl, good teacher. Also stubborn student. We've established this. He smiled. Typed, want to practice together tomorrow after school? Videl, yes. And you can tell me about today's archive trip. Deal? Gohan, deal. He set the phone down. Looked at his homework. Physics assignment about momentum and collision. The Codex knowledge made it trivial. He could calculate momentum across 17-dimensional axes simultaneously. Basic 3-dimensional physics was kindergarten stuff, but he worked through it anyway. Showed his process. Explained his reasoning in normal human mathematics. Kept himself grounded. Kept himself human. Bedroom window showed stars. Normal stars. Not dimensional tears or cosmic threats. Just distant suns burning in comfortable vacuum. Gohan's eyes glowed faint emerald in reflection. He blinked. They returned to normal. The knowledge pulsed. Organized itself further. The Codex sections he'd absorbed integrated with the scroll memories. Building comprehensive understanding. Tomorrow he'd return to the archive. Learn 3 more sections. Push his limits carefully. Grow stronger. But tonight he was just Gohan's son. High school student. Big brother. Son. Friend. Human. His phone buzzed again. Piccolo this time. P remembered something. The entity showed you vision of fighting alone. But visions show possible futures, not certain ones. Want to know what I see when I look at your future? Gohan, what? P, I see a teacher. Surrounded by students. Sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it. Building something that lasts beyond just you. That's the future you should work toward. Gohan stared at the message. Then typed, how do I do that? P, 1 student at a time. Start with Videl. Then others. Build your school before you need it. Create community around the knowledge. Make it something shared instead of solitary. Made sense. Terrifying sense. But sense nonetheless. Gohan, okay. I'll try. P, not try. Do. Or do not. There is no try. Gohan, did you just quote Yoda at me? P, I have no idea what you're talking about. Go to sleep. Big day tomorrow. The conversation ended. Gohan lay in bed. Stared at ceiling. Thought about the entity's vision. The lonely future. Thought about Piccolo's alternative. The teacher surrounded by students. 2 paths. Both possible. His choice which became real. He chose the second one. Closed his eyes. Let sleep take him. Dreamed of the archive. Of the codex. Of knowledge that danced through his subconscious, organizing itself into useful patterns. But also dreamed of Videl learning seals. Of Goten growing up. Of a school where people studied reality-bending magic alongside normal subjects. Impossible dream? Maybe. But Gohan specialized in impossible. The next 2 weeks blurred into routine. Mornings school. Normal classes. Homework. Human interaction. Afternoons. Training with Piccolo. Seal practice. Learning to blend technique with intention. Evenings archive visits. 3 sections per day. Controlled exposure under elder scribe's supervision. The knowledge accumulated. Thread weaving. Pocket dimension creation. Entity true name derivation. Multilayer barrier construction. Temporal seal dynamics. Each section expanded his understanding. Made reality more malleable. More negotiable. But also more dangerous. Section 12, Containment Psychology, taught him sealed entities were conscious. Aware. Suffering in their prisons. Some deserved it. Others? Questionable. Section 19, Dimensional Ethics, raised questions about who decided what got sealed. Who judged threats worthy of eternal imprisonment. The Namekian sage's reasoning wasn't always clear. Section 27, The cost of binding, explained every seal extracted price. Usually from the seal caster. Energy. Lifespan. Sanity. Reality didn't give something for nothing. Gohan absorbed it all. Integrated the knowledge carefully. His hybrid biology still adapting. Still evolving to handle information load. But he also maintained balance. Taught Videl 3 evenings a week. Helped Goten with homework. Had dinner with Mom. Sparred with Piccolo. Stayed connected. Stayed grounded. The entity didn't contact him again. But he felt its presence. Watching. Waiting. Testing his resolve through silence instead of visions. On day 14, the elder scribe called halt. You've read 41 sections. Absorbed knowledge equivalent to multiple Namekian lifetimes. Your mind is stable. Surprisingly. The figure sounded almost disappointed. Expected you to break by section 30. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Not confidence. Observation. You're different from other students. Most are purely one thing, scholar or warrior. Cerebral or physical. You're both. The contradiction somehow creates stability. Hybrid advantage? Perhaps. Or perhaps you're just stubborn enough to rewrite rules. The elder scribe gestured at the codex. 6 sections remain. The most dangerous ones. Reality unmaking. Existential binding. The mathematics of nothing. Knowledge that breaks stages regularly. Can I handle them? Unknown. Your tolerance has exceeded predictions. But these final sections aren't just dangerous. They're corruptive. Understanding nothing changes you. Makes you question existence itself. Students who read them sometimes decide reality isn't worth preserving. Gohan thought about Earth. Family. Friends. Vidal's smile. Godin's laughter. Mom's terrible worried face. I'll be fine. Famous last words. But the elder scribe opened the codex anyway. Read carefully. I'll pull you out if necessary. Section 42, Reality Unmaking. How to delete things from existence. Not kill. Not destroy. Unmake them retroactively. Erase them from timelines so they never existed. The technique was elegant. Terrible. Required understanding something so completely you could reverse the mathematics that allowed it to be real. Gohan read. Absorbed. Felt the knowledge settle into place. Felt the temptation. He could unmake enemies. Threats. Villains who cause suffering. Just delete them from reality. Problem solved. Except it wasn't that simple. Unmake a person? Unmake every choice they made. Every consequence of their existence. Ripple effects could collapse entire timelines. The technique was last resort. Nuclear option. Forbidden by most civilizations for good reason, Gohan filed it away. Available but locked behind mental warnings. Section 43. Existential binding. How to seal concepts instead of entities. Abstract ideas made manifest. Fear. Hate. War. Bind them in pocket dimensions. Remove them from reality. Utopian dream. Nightmarish execution. Because concepts were part of reality's foundation. Remove fear? People stopped learning from danger. Remove hate? They lost ability to recognize evil. Remove war? They forgot how to defend themselves. The technique existed. But using it required wisdom beyond Gohan's years. He absorbed it anyway. Trusted future Gohan to use it wisely. Present Gohan just had to survive learning it. Section 44. The mathematics of nothing. This one hurt. Understanding nothing required experiencing it. The elder scribe guided Gohan into meditative state where he touched pure void. Absence of existence. Anti-reality. His mind recoiled. Screamed. Threatened to fracture. But his hybrid nature saved him again. Human stubbornness refused to accept non-existence. Saiyan pride demanded reality. Namekian training provided framework to process impossible. He survived the void. Came back changed. Could see gaps in reality now. Places where existence thinned. Could manipulate nothing the way he manipulated something. Create pockets of absolute void. Weapons that didn't damage, they erased. Terrifying power. Useful power. Horrible power. Locked behind mental safeguards alongside unmaking techniques. Section 45. Corruption Recognition. This section was warning. Tutorial on identifying when seals went wrong. When knowledge corrupted the wielder. Signs to watch for. Gohan read it twice. Memorize the symptoms. Isolation. Megalomania. Believing you knew better than everyone. Deciding who deserved to exist. He thought about the entity's vision. About the lonely future. Recognized it as corruption path. The bad ending. Resolved, again, to avoid it. Section 46. Emergency Protocols. What to do when everything failed. When seals broke catastrophically. When entities escaped. Survival techniques. Evacuation procedures. How to minimize casualties when the impossible happened. Practical knowledge. Useful. Not corruptive. Gohan absorbed it gratefully. Filed it under hope I never need this. Section 47. The final teaching. The Codex's last section was different. Not techniques. Not formulas. Just wisdom from the Namekian sages. Final thoughts before they sealed their knowledge away. Knowledge is burden. Power is responsibility. But wisdom is knowing when to use either. The greatest seal master isn't the one who can bind gods. It's the one who knows when not to. You who read this have absorbed our lifetime's work. You carry mathematics that can reshape reality. But remember, reality doesn't need reshaping most of the time. It just needs protecting. Maintaining. Small adjustments instead of grand gestures. Don't be us. Don't pursue knowledge for its own sake. Don't seal every threat because you can. Leave room for others to grow. For problems to solve themselves naturally. For reality to be messy and chaotic and alive. Be the guardian we couldn't be. The one who uses this power sparingly. Reluctantly. Only when necessary. Be better than we were. The words settled into Gohan's heart. Heavier than techniques. More important than formulas. The elder scribe closed the codex. Congratulations. You've completed the archive's most dangerous text. You're now one of 7 beings in this universe with complete understanding of namekian sealing magic. How do I feel so empty then? Because you've reached the top of the mountain. And the view from the summit is lonely. The figure gestured. But you have choice. Stay on the summit alone. Or climb down. Build your school at the mountain's base. Teach others to climb toward you. The second one. Definitely the second one. Good answer. The elder scribe turned toward exit portal. Your training here is complete. But your education continues. Reality is better teacher than any book. Supreme Kai waited at the portal. Grinning. Heard you finished. Impressive. Only 2 students have survived the complete codex. You're third. Who are the others? Can't say. But one of them is watching from other world and probably planning to challenge you to a sealing contest. That's ominous. Welcome to cosmic knowledge circles. Everyone's competitive. They stepped through portal. Gohan materialized in Supreme Kai's garden. Checked his watch. 3 hours had passed. Outside time meant it was afternoon. He'd missed morning classes. His phone showed 17 texts from Videl. Where are you? Did you oversleep? Are you okay? Professor Kimura is glaring at your empty desk. Gohan, answer me. If you died, I'm going to kill you. And finally, Piccolo said you're at Cosmic Library. You're buying me coffee to make up for the panic attack. Gohan smiled. Typed deal. Meet at usual spot after school? Immediate response. You're alive. And yes. You owe me expensive coffee. With extra shot. Done. He turned to Supreme Kai. Thank you. For everything. The training. The patience. Not letting me break. You did the work. I just pointed directions. The Kai's expression turned serious. What will you do now? You have the knowledge. The power. What comes next? Gohan thought about it. Really thought. I'm going to finish high school. Help Mom with Goten. Keep training with Piccolo. He looked at the sky. And I'm going to start teaching. Videl first. Then others. Build foundation for the school Piccolo saw in my future. Create community around this knowledge so it's never isolated. Never lonely. And when threats come, I'll face them. But not alone. Never alone. Gohan's eyes glowed emerald. Then returned to normal. That's the whole point. The Namekian sages were brilliant. But they were also isolated. Made mistakes because no one questioned them. I won't repeat that. Supreme Kai nodded approval. Good. Though I should warn you, having friends who can challenge your decisions means having arguments. Lots of arguments. I'll take arguments over isolation. Wise choice. Gohan flew home. Showered. Changed. Made it to the coffee shop before Videl arrived. She walked in 10 minutes later. Ma glared at him. Cosmic Library. Really? I texted Piccolo to tell you, after I'd already panicked for 2 hours. She sat. Accepted the expensive caramel latte he'd ordered. You're lucky you're cute. He blushed. So. Did you finish the super dangerous knowledge book? Yeah, and I learned enough magic to unmake reality. Also learned why that's a terrible idea. Videl sipped her coffee. Sounds productive. Are you different? The entity's vision said knowledge changes people. Gohan considered. He was different. Could perceive 17 dimensions. Understood mathematics that bent physics. Carried memories from beings who predated Earth. But also, he still blushed when Videl called him cute. Still worried about Mom. Still helped Goten with homework. Still felt human despite everything. I'm different, he admitted. But also the same. If that makes sense. It doesn't. But I'll take your word for it. She pulled out her notebook. So, you promised to teach me seal theory. I've been practicing basic containment, but I want to learn barriers next. The protective kind. They spent 2 hours at the coffee shop. Gohan explaining barrier mathematics. Videl asking pointed questions that made him think through concepts differently. Teaching was good. Forced him to simplify complex ideas. Made him realize how much he'd internalized. And watching Videl absorb the knowledge? Seeing her excitement when she grasped difficult concept? Better than any power-up. More satisfying than any victory. This was the path forward. This was how to avoid the entity's vision. Share. Teach. Build community. Make the knowledge alive instead of archived. Walking Videl home after their study session, Gohan felt lighter. The Codex knowledge still resided in his head. Still dangerous. Still powerful. But it didn't control him. Didn't isolate him, he controlled it. Used it for his purposes. On his terms. Same time next week? Videl asked at her door. Definitely. Might bring Goten. He's been pestering me about learning the glowy hand stuff. Your 7-year-old brother wants to learn dimensional magic? He's a Saiyan. We're bad at understanding too dangerous. Fair point. She smiled. Bring him. I'll help teach. 2 teachers better than 1. You've learned like 4 seals total, which is 4 more than Goten. I'm qualified. She poked his chest. Stop trying to carry everything alone. It's annoying. He caught her hand. Noted. Thank you? For everything. Anytime, scholar boy. She went inside. Gohan flew home. The sun was setting, painting sky in colors that existed in normal 3-dimensional space without requiring dimensional mathematics to appreciate. Beautiful, simple, real. He landed at home. Mom had dinner ready. Goten bombarded him with questions about where he'd been. Gohan explained in kid-friendly terms. Promised to teach him basic seals this weekend. Normal evening. Normal family. His phone buzzed. Elder Kai this time. Ike. Heard you finished the codex. Impressive. Also terrifying. Want to grab tea sometime? Discuss advanced techniques? Maybe warn you about the 13 mistakes I made learning this stuff? Gohan smiled. Typed, yes please. Your place or mine? Ike. Sacred World of Kais. Tuesday afternoon. Bring questions. I'll bring stories. See you then. The connections grew. The community expanded. The isolation future receded. Gohan sat at dinner table, listening to Mom talk about grocery shopping and Goten describe his day and his phone buzzing with messages from friends and teachers and cosmic entities who wanted to help. This was the answer. This was how to carry impossible knowledge without breaking. You didn't carry it alone, you shared it. Distributed the weight. Let others help shoulder the burden. And in sharing, the knowledge became something better. Something alive. Something good. The entity's vision showed him fighting alone. Gohan was building an army of students instead. Monsters didn't stand a chance.